Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be playing in the one, the only, it is the KV-5, and today I'm going to be showing you why this zombie KV-5 might as well be immortal. Now, the KV-5 has been in the game pretty much since the beginning as the classic Tier 8 Soviet premium heavy tank, and for the longest of times I didn't even really care about this vehicle until Equipment 2.0 went into the game. And when it did, it absolutely revolutionized my enjoyment of the KV-5 because, you know me, I'm a little bit weird, and I had an opportunity to set this tank up in a very weird way. I use a durability device on this vehicle, a turbo, and bounty protection technology. No gun rammer, no vents on this vehicle for me because it's all about the speed and the momentum, and when that comes together with the protection technology and the durability device, so your tracks are super healthy, and even if they get knocked off, you're going to be putting them back on in about 3 or 4 seconds. That means that you can give up something as silly as a repair kit. Now, again, you might be thinking, boy, if you don't have a repair kit, how are you going to repair your engine? Well, it doesn't matter. With the bounty protection technology, even if your engine is damaged, you have minus 70% to the penalty that it applies. And so because the speed governors increase your engine power by 10%, it's practically the same running speed governors with a damaged engine as if you weren't running them with a regular engine. Also, that protection technology means that the chance of you being set on fire is reduced from 15% when the engine is hit all the way down to 5%. And you might be thinking then, well, if your ammo rack, what about if your ammo rack goes? Well, yeah, it's going to be pretty bad if the ammo rack does get popped and your turret blows off. However, the ammo rack has massive health, 550. Hopefully you've got safe stowage as well to be able to increase that even further. And if you do get ammo racked, well, the protection technology reduces the impact by 70% as well. So it's not too bad. And then that allows the KV-5 to have the meat to do silly things like driving at 3 vehicles and saying, oh, hello, STA2. Well, you can fire your gold rounds at me. Doesn't really matter. I'll bump you literally with a tiny little ram from the side, like a grazing ram. Almost as if we were having a little bit of a joust at each other there. And I do 422 damage to the STA2, which would be the equivalent of firing 1.5 shots. And the great thing about the KV-5 is not a lot of people realize, but it's actually got one of the highest base damage per minutes of any of the Tier 8 heavies. And because the armor is so thick, you basically just go side on here at 45 degrees and hope that your opponents suck. But that great base damage per minute means that even without a gun rammer and vents, you can still be able to chew through your opponents as if you're a lesser heavy tank, like the Defender behind me with regards to damage per minute. Now, of course, you can have 2 builds if you really wanted and you get yourself into a matchup where you don't think there's much opportunity to be silly or to be ramming. You could take a gun rammer and vents and have some truly tremendous damage per minute. But honestly, I feel that the speed that you can build on this tank to be able to have those ram opportunities far outweighs a benefit of trying to make the firepower of this vehicle better. Wow, this 274A actually played a really good game here. Got some really good shots into me. And I even made a huge misplay there aiming down on the 274A's gun. And while we have done like 3,700 combined this game, which would be a great result for any KV-5 in the first 4 minutes of this battle, unfortunately, we are crippled. We've got 54 hit points left. We've only got 2 kills. Not bad combined, but definitely not excellent combined. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where the QB hit points of having a very small amount of hit points because you've played incredibly aggressively to get down to that point come into play. We have natural adrenaline rush, IRL, but also we probably do have adrenaline rush activated on one of our loaders, which is going to further improve our rate of fire. So the KV-5, when it's mortally wounded, you just got to then kind of pray to the machine gods that they're going to look after the remaining hit points of your vehicle. So in this situation, I don't really feel that I'm going to be able to cut through the northern flank, so I decided to drop back and, I don't know, try and provide a little bit of spotting. What am I talking about? I've got awful view range on this vehicle. But hoping that somebody's going to make a mistake, push through, or maybe I'll just get an opportunity to get some crossfire. So I will say that with a vehicle like this, seriously, if you can get one of these, which everybody can because it only costs 8,000 bonds, especially with all of the arcade cabinet game modes that have been going on recently, this is one of the most fun tanks you can play in Arcade Cabinet, because when they lower the penetration, this thing's armor becomes outrageously good. And if they improve the gun handling or they improve the engine power from an Arcade Cabinet game mode as well, then this thing has a 40km/h top speed limit, and because it weighs 100 tons, the only vehicle that will give you a run for your money will be the Tier 8 German premium tank, the Mauerbrecher, or alternatively, if somebody's actually playing the texture tank, like the VK100-01. So in this scenario, I just feel as if I'm never going to penetrate APCR rounds on the T-32, so I was hoping that possibly I might be able to wing in some HE shells and see if I can get them. But unfortunately, it just doesn't seem to be working for me. And then I spot the minimap to see that the Progetto, unfortunately, just finishes off our defender. So we're going to intuition switch to get an AP shell backloaded. Going to turn the vehicle around. You see that I'm not actually running the speed governors right now, so I'm not actually getting a full engine power out of my KV-5. But we're going to try and hope that this S1... Oh, we turn the speed governors back on now. Not a lot of people realize you can actually turn them on and turn them off in the battle. It's a very interesting consumable to use inside World of Tanks. Wish there are a few more interesting consumables like that. Although with Wargaming's balancing features, I'm sure they'll charge like 20,000 credits for them and just make them flat out overpowered. Oh dear. A bit of a stinky shot there against the Progetto, unfortunately. Which means that now they're very healthy as they come around the corner. Or are they? As the S1 puts in a great shot into the side of the Progetto, who fails their flanking maneuver. And we pick up our first kill on our 54 hit points. Starting off the comeback of the Immortal KV-5. Alright, so there's an SU-130 PM that's spotted around the corner, and again we're going to intuition switch to now use HE rounds, which have 360 damage with 54mm of pen, which will be more than enough to go through the glass cannon Soviet tank destroyer. So in this situation, we're going to spot them, and then I notice there's a Borask on my side, and yeah, I don't think we should really go around the corner together. One of us is going to have to make the sacrifice. So you'll see that I ping the map to suggest to the Borask that maybe they should try and flank from the other side. And we'll see that the SU is now going to be more interested in turning towards the Borask, and that allows me to confirm the kill on the SU-130 PM. Now turning our 2 kills on 54 hit points into 4. Oh dear, the Carnarvon finishes off our Borask, but luckily that allows us to be able to get a shot into the side of the Tier 8 British Premium Heavy Tank. And that thing is scary. While the KV-5 has good DPM, the Carnarvon Action 10 has incredible damage per minute. And now you're going to see that I'm going to intuition switch to HE, fire through his tracks in an effort to lock him down, roll for 64 damage, and somehow set that British heavy tank on fire from the side. Yeah, HE mechanics. Well done, Wargaming, for changing the way that HE worked in World of Tanks. You did a really good job. So the Carnarvon, we kind of get a little bit lucky there that they get roasted. And now we're up to 5 kills on our 54 hit points against a full health Leo, who fires an AP shell to begin with as a bit of a starter, and then unfortunately the main course was an APCR round which bounced, and now the Leo baited me there. Well played, mate. Managed to get me good and proper. We're going to go backwards and forwards just to be able to try and hopefully avoid him shooting our weak point, come around the corner, and wow, this person is playing ammunition roulette, as they actually fire an HE shell now that we can see for the 410 damage that was blocked, unable to get rid of my 54 hit points. We put in 1 round, the Leo comes over the ridge, misses the side of my tank, and we finish them off. But unfortunately, we have now damaged our engine. But oh my word, there's a TA-32 who bounces a gold round off the side of our tank. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, look at the graveyard that the Immortal KV-2 has created. 7 kills in this game. There's only 8 tanks down this flank, and we have destroyed 7 out of 8 of them. That's right, a bit of a gravedigger right now. Talking about gravedigger, I've been playing a game that's called Graveyard Keeper recently. Oh my god, it's actually quite fantastic. If any of you like Stardew Valley, I would thoroughly recommend that one. Anyway, I digress. Let's focus on the game at hand, which is World of Tanks. The Borask on our team says, "Game to win!" Happy face! Exclamation mark. So I put happy face! Exclamation mark as well. Quite chuffed on my 7 kills and hoping that maybe we can turn it into a Radley Walters medal. Okay, so that SU-152 is using the big gun. And I'm hoping that maybe they're firing armor piercing, because if they are, they're not going to be able to penetrate my vehicle at all. We actually ammo rack the SU-152. And look how fast our KV-5 is, even with a damaged engine. Again, because of that minus 70% penalty, and because the speed governors still provide a 10% engine power increase, even if they're continuously damaging the engine. I wonder if speed governors would ever make your engine go red. It's something I would not know. Does anyone know in the comments down below? Ouch. That was a little bit unexpected and painful, as the cheeky SU-152 finishes off the Immortal KV-5, putting a pesky high explosive round into the back of the tank. Not pixel perfect play there by me. I should have been really pre-aimed for the edge of him, and I shouldn't have stuck so much of my butt around the corner. There's no point in side scraping like this. I could have easily tucked in my big old Soviet booty and side scraped more at an angle like this, and while it would have given him more of an opportunity to shoot the side of my turret, I think that would have been the better play. Alternatively, I could have tried to maybe make a flanking maneuver, maybe try to get in a position to shoot the T-832 in the back. Not good play there by me at the end of the game. And that pesky SU-152 definitely proves, or he severs, the KV-5's immortality. Nevertheless, 6,500 combined and 7 kills in this game. We pretty much packed in an extra 3,000 on top of what we achieved earlier on in the battle, and got 5 kills to boot, vanquishing half of the enemy team. But again, not perfect. So in this kind of a situation, I was feeling very disappointed about myself, and then I realized, as unfortunately the T-832 picks up a little bit of damage, that we're passing the baton to our team to hopefully be able to carry us. And wow, that's a great start, as LP Mitrale puts in their first shot against the Tier 8 American Premium Heavy Tank. Now that T-832 has a fabulous turret, as we saw earlier on. We had no opportunities to pen it even with gold rounds on this vehicle. But it's not just the IS-3 that's really going to matter here. It's also going to be about who just took a shot, unfortunately, so he's still got enough hit points to take a shell from the T-832. It's also going to be about the Caro and the T-25. And unfortunately for us, the Caro actually has a lot of hit points, and our team going in don't have very many hit points. And unfortunately, the Caro spots out the T-25 too, puts one into the Tier 7 tank destroyer, and LT Dwarf on our team unfortunately gets shut down. And our Tiger P, well, I guess he's just sitting there hoping that the T-832 is going to reverse. But right now, I was starting to become a little bit worried. Luckily, the Caro hits the Caro on the enemy team, locked in a bit of a Tier 7 Italian duel, and I go and take a look at the Caros here, because the enemy Caro just put one in, and with the sirens going off, there's only 2 minutes left on this game. Our Caro puts a great shot in to the enemy Caro, and now they're both a one-shot for each other, and our hero, LP Mitrale, finishes off the T-832, and aligns up, possibly, the kill shot to win the game. Finishes them off. I say, you could do it! GG, well played, and a great, tremendous team effort with the last few players securing 13 out of 15 kills in this game. That was a fun round of World of Tanks. And I am just such a fanboy of this big old Soviet brute. I recommend it to everyone. I think it's the best 8,000 bonds that you can spend. But be warned, it's a tank that takes damage to make damage. There's the old radio operator sitting in here in his bunker, pretty much getting taken out every other shot on this vehicle. But if you have one of these inside your garage gathering a little bit of dust, set it up in a silly way, and you can hopefully take your opponents to Ram Town. And this thing, it can one-shot vehicles if you do get those magic 40km/h collisions. And more importantly, it's just so stupid that it works. So this was an ace tanker for the KV-5 for 1,851 base experience, of which I feel almost most of that was done with practically no hit points. We managed to get a top gun for destroying nearly half the enemy team, and a high caliber for the 5,551 damage. And as we're a premium tank that wasn't firing many premium rounds, make 123,000 credits profit. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching it as it goes live on Sunday, it's time for the World of Tanks Tech Tree Showcase on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And this week, I'm going to be featuring the Tier 10 Italian tank destroyer and all of its previous vehicles, the Minotauro. So come along if you want to see what this brute is able to do on the battlefield in a whole line of tanks that turn your team from having one tank destroyer to having an extra heavy tank, which can be very impactful indeed. So really looking forward to seeing you all live right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic and hopefully I'll see you soon.